Hey guys, it's Forrest, Kh1 QCF. Welcome back to my channel. Went out to the mailbox today and there was a little surprise for me sitting in a box from my good friends Mike and Becky, ham radio duo. Now they'd reached out to me and let me know they wanted me to check out a new product of theirs. I love their Just OK antenna. It's a little whip antenna on 20 meters. I'm going to talk about that in a second. I also really love and recommend their straight key, and I appreciate them sending me some of their products on occasion to test out and give them feedback. Now, I don't even think they asked me to make a video about this, but when I got it in the mail, I opened it and I took it right out for a Parks on the Air activation. And this is the unit. It is a white 3D printed handheld carrying case for the beloved QRP Labs QMX. I suppose you could do a QCX Mini as well, but I have the QMX midband. This is my home built QRP Labs QMX midband. I built it in a day, and I've had 3 of the QMX, and it's a great little radio. Now, I've titled this video the $300 Kh1 Killer, and I'm going to explain to you why. Now, obviously, it starts with the radio, but this carrying case that Mike and Becky have come up with for this specific radio accomplishes something really, really cool. So we're going to walk through it together. If you guys know anything about my channel, you know that I am a obsessed addict with the Kh1, so much so I've driven millions of views around this radio through my YouTube shorts. I like to think I'm responsible for a few dozen sales, and that's just people that have reached out to me and told me they bought a Kh1 because they saw one of my videos. And this is the radio, my favorite radio, the radio I'm most romantic about. But there is a big challenge with this radio in that it's north of $1,300 to get it configured in the way you need to operate out in the field, the way I have it configured, which is the Edgewood package. That's right, it's over $1,300. Now, I think it's worth it. I would still recommend this radio, but many people, I know this from my comments, aren't in a position to go invest that amount in a radio like this. So I'm very excited that we're starting to see some competition as far as true HF handheld radios on a budget. And this configuration, how I have it set up, is extremely competitive and very affordable for just about anyone to get into the hobby. Now, as much as I've driven a lot of views and sales here, also one of my most viewed videos ever in long form is my budget no compromise video for field operations. I have this exact radio in a video with about 20,000 views where I show that you can fully assemble a field kit for about $350. And what's cool is this is going to do the same thing, but it's going to do so in a very portable, on-the-go way that I think is kind of cool. Now, we're going to break it down piece by piece, but you'll notice, like I said, I just returned from a field operation with this, and after my summary of the 2 radios and how they compare head-to-head, I am going to have about a 30 to 35 minute portion at the end of this video that's just my field operation, which I cannot begin to emphasize how much it exceeded my expectations. Again, I was a little hesitant to believe that this would perform super well. I don't know why. The QMX is a good radio, but paired with this antenna and this type of setup, I kind of Frankensteined it a little bit. It's definitely not like the Kh1 in its conciseness, but this activation that I had, maybe it was conditions, I don't know. It was one of the best QRP activations I've ever had, and I'll show you guys a QSO map at the end, but I worked like 20 states. I got to the furthest geographical continental landmass from the United States, which is Maine, or from Utah, which is Maine, and this thing just kicked butt. In fact, I was about a QSO a minute, and I was only 22 words a minute. A QSO per minute is on par with my 100 watt activation, so this thing just absolutely crushed it. But I'm going to quickly disassemble it now. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys exactly how I had this set up. And again, I don't know if I was an expert on this particular setup. I haven't seen all the in-depth videos that Ham Radio Duo has done on it. When I got this kit, I literally just started throwing it together so that I could go out and get on the air with it holding the QMX in my hand. I went ahead and made sure I threw on my Kh1 QCF sticker. But I'm going to walk you guys step by step with what I did when I got this kit and how I configured it, and then my takeaways, because again, I am extremely blown away and I'm very excited to recommend this kit to a bunch of people. So first and foremost, the antenna, I went ahead and used, this is the antenna designed to go with the 3D print that Ham Radio Duo provides. It's the Just OK antenna. It's a monoband antenna. It's a whip antenna, just like the Kh1. And it has a counterpoise feature, and they provide the counterpoise when they ship it to you. But again, a monoband antenna, extremely lightweight. I believe it's assembled, it's about $50 for this antenna, but you can get it in a kit, which would be really fun to build this as a kit for around $29.97. So this was the antenna, and it performed wonderfully. Here's the interesting part of the kit for me today. I'm gonna go ahead and unplug all of this, and I'm gonna remove this paddle. I'll talk to you about my paddle setup here in a minute. When I got this kit in the mail today, I recognized a really big problem for me personally, in that this battery tray is kind of the entire point of this case. The whole challenge with the QMX compared to the Kh1, no built-in tuner, no built-in speaker, no built-in power. So if you want to operate with the QMX out in the field, you're going to be carrying a lot of extras. What this case is really designed to do, and I found, is one, it allows me to mount a paddle. It provides a space for a power supply, and then really a handheld radio like the Kh1 or the QMX, they're really meant to be paired with headphones. If I'm operating a contest in my Kh1 and I'm doing CW, I'm always wearing headphones. Headphones is really preferred for field operations or operating CW. You're going to have a better copy. The sound's going to be just much better than the ambient noise of a speaker. Now, with that, I do a lot of YouTube, so I have to add speakers to my field operations so that my viewers can hear the content. Now, with that, again, so I've got the radio mounted within the case. I've got the power supply in back, and the huge issue I ran into when I got this, and I was like, I might not be able to use this, it's not going to work for me, is, guys, I build my QMXs as 9 volts. So my QMX Plus, this QMX, they're built as 9 volt radios. And the problem with that, let me see if I have it right here. So when I saw this battery tray, I realized this tray is meant to be paired with the USB power delivery banks that are so widely available. It's like the most common power banks you're going to find on Amazon are these 12 volt different amp hour power banks that are designed to fit in this case. Where I've built my QMX as 9 volts, that's a problem because I pair it with the 9 volt 3 amp, and yeah, this isn't going to fit in this tray, and it's also kind of bigger and heavier. Now, this tray is designed to pair with like a Talent cell. This is the 12 volt 3 amp, or the power banks that you guys see. There's a bunch of these, and these will fit in here just perfectly. So I thought I was in a bit of trouble, but I used my brain. I am an amateur extra now, so I have to be creative and scientific. And I came up with a pretty crazy little hack. And I figured out a way to run my 9 volt batteries with this QMX. Now, the important thing to know about a QMX is a standard 9 volt battery. You guys can push back on this. Those haven't worked for me. I've gotten the rechargeable ones. I've gotten the 9 volt, literally just the 9 volt batteries like you put in your smoke detectors. And those last like a minute, or they die literally upon keying because it needs a higher amp hour for the QMX. The QMX has a higher draw than like an LNR Precision, the CFT1. The QMX is a very feature-packed radio, and it needs a certain amount of power. I don't know all the scientific data, but my 9 volts, I've literally never run this on a 9 volt, not successfully or not for very long. So again, what I did that I'm very proud of, if you look at my cable, I ran 3 9 volts in parallel. But this is what's going to blow your mind. And this is the benefit of building this as a 9 volt. So I'm under 3 ounces for these, and my power cable weighs the same as like a Talent cell power cable or any sort of USB C to your DC plug. This is under 3 ounces for these 3 in series, and I might be able to get away with just 2, and they're rechargeable. And guys, both of these are about 7 ounces. In fact, I think, I'm trying to remember which one's more, but one of them's 7.2, but they average about 7 ounces. So my 3 9 volts in series are less than half the weight, which, guys, when you're holding a rig in your hand, that is the secret to success. So I think part of the reason I'm so thrilled with this is I was able to just cram in 3 9 volt batteries in parallel to my DC plug. And I don't even know if this is how Mike and Becky set theirs up, but when I wired those through and I pulled this little DC plug out, it fit in there perfect, and I had my power ready to go. And paired with the Just OK antenna, it's more than Just OK, I absolutely slayed the activation. Now, where it got a little bit Frankenstein is you have to solve for a couple more things. So I'm notoriously pairing this to my Kh1. These are the direct speakers that plug in. This is what everyone uses for their Kh1. And I wasn't going to be able to fit that. I actually might have been able to. But if I did, I would need a right angle for my paddle. No, I'm not going to be able to fit that directly. So what I did is I literally just have a splitter. This wasn't ideal. Ideally, it would just be one, or just like a right angle to a right angle female. And this could hang just like right here. It was probably hanging down further. And then I had the added weight of this extra plug. And then this was kind of the thing that blew my mind. I don't think they designed this for the Palm Radio, but I noticed this little metal piece and I assumed it was for a key. I don't know. But I literally just stuck it in between and it was a perfect fit. And then these ridges actually lock in the Palm. This will be a Palm Pico or the Palm Single Pico. And this was, you'll see it in the activation, this was money. This was like the best setup ever. I actually just wound this and then I went directly in. And man, it was just an awesome activation. And while this was a bit more Frankenstein and not as concise as like the Kh1, tell me that you don't love QRP CW videos. QRP CW, the Spaniard, who he always has these crazy QRP kits where he connects everything and he has it all built in. This was like a really concise version of that was super manageable with my power and the QMX, extremely lightweight. I was just so impressed by this kit, and I'm excited to announce that it is a Kh1 Killer. So here's the weight comparison. This is the whole kit. I just threw it on so it would fit. The entire kit of the QMX with my 9-volt batteries was 1 pound 6.4 ounces. So the Kh1 with the speaker is just under 1 pound. So this is about a ½ pound heavier, but still quite a bit lighter than the KX2. Oh, and I might get some pushback that the Palm Radio key alone is a couple $100. Yeah, that's not going to be part of the Kh1 Killer. I mean, it still does. You still kill it in price if you want to get a nice paddle like this. But keep in mind the N6 ARA, he actually has the QMX kit. You can get the tiny or the mini paddle like this. Very, very inexpensive. You can build it, I think, for 20 bucks. But as far as the paddle goes, whether it's a CW Morse or there's a plethora of other keys. You could use their straight key. Of course, this isn't going to hang from the radio, but there's a lot of small field keys. You don't need to use a Palm Radio, but just keep that in mind. We're park activated in 12 minutes.